welcome to the Born Unbreakable podcast. I'm your host, Coach Des, and this is a very special episode. The last episode, we talked about being here at the Summit of Greatness, and now I'm in the presence of greatness because I have my friend, Lori Barbarotto. I've always wanted to say her name like that. She is the author of Titanium. So that is what we're going to talk about today. But I have to give a little backstory of how Lori and I met. We met at this amazing event. I've been coming for 7 years. Mm-hmm. Has it been 7 years for you
It's
two?
been 5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. So at some point along the journey.
In Ohio.
We met in good old Columbus, Ohio. And we're both extremely passionate about personal development, self-development. So our paths cross. We've been friends ever since. And also our good friend, Dr. Michelle Muggy, who's actually here in the audience today. She's in the background, clapping it up for us. And so we are just so excited to be able to talk about her book because 1 year ago, she manifested this by working with story builders when we were at Summit of Greatness last year, which was also in Los Angeles, but it was at the Shrine Auditorium. And this year we were at the Dolby Theater, feeling like Oscar Award winner people. It really does feel like that, though, I have to say. So I have to start by saying 1 year ago, Lori, what made you want to go down the journey of writing your book, and what gave you the courage to make the decision?
So I had a traumatic event that happened in my life in 2011, and it was something that I was kind of just putting in the back seat, right? It was something I was putting behind me, trying to avoid kind of working through. And I worked through it for a little bit, but I really didn't start to unpack it until I started going to Summit of Greatness for the first year. And that was the first year we met. And a little bit at a time each year, I was kind of working through it and kind of, being able to start to talk about it, but I still wasn't sharing it with people. And prior to Summit last year, I started journaling. It was at that point where each year I was starting to be a little more vulnerable about sharing the story and kind of working through it and actually starting to rethink about it because I really just didn't want to think about it. Like it was something I'd put in the past, but I had triggers through those years. And so working through those, and I started to journal about it, and it started to feel a little bit of like it was therapeutic to kind of start to write about the story and put it down on paper, actually on my iPhone. And so last year at Summit, we had attended, and Story Builders was there, and it wasn't Story Builders was there I think every year previously, and something I would have never thought about, but it was just like the timing was right. And I told Michelle, who's with me, that, let's go check out this block of time where they were kind of going over, supporting you on a book and how you can like tell your story. And I'm like, I want to hear what this is all about. And so I committed, like right there, I'm like, this is happening. I texted my husband, I'm like, it's time. And he supported me immediately. And I was like, let's do this. So I committed. And I was second guessing myself if I can really make it happen because I was really nervous if I can really push this through and, really share a story that or the whole book about my story and if it would even be interesting to people. But I felt like over the years previously, like I can see that it can inspire others to kind of hear the story and to kind of see that now I was unlocking vulnerability and starting to share it, that it was time to share and time to tell the story. So, I committed last year, and every single weekend every Saturday, I'd go to a different coffee shop and I'd write for hours. And Story Builders kind of supported me through the process, and we had like a shared Google Doc where we'd like share information, and they knew the weekends was when I worked on my portion of it, and then during the week they'd come back and kind of help me structure it. So and I told them I had a hard deadline to make this happen before Summit this year because I wanted it done, I wanted it off my list, and I wanted to put everything behind me and feel like I could move forward. And super excited that here we are today. It's out. I'm sharing it. I know.
It's insane. And I bet it didn't even feel like a year.
No.
Not at all, right?
It flew by.
It flew by. So you didn't just put your toe in the water, you jumped into the deep end.
Yeah.
But you did it. You had the courage. And so I think that's one of the biggest things out of this is you second guessed yourself, but the further you get into it, then you realize that it's the right thing to do. You followed your instincts, you followed your gut. And I think one of the big things that I take away from this too is just the support system.
Yeah.
Having Michelle, having an amazing husband, having people rooting you on, going, absolutely. I remember in the beginning when you were just starting, you were texting me and I was like, hell yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Like, you got to keep going. You got to do this because there is always somebody that needs to hear your story. And one, it's you.
Yeah.
So that you can have that acceptance and you can have the peace, with it. And because someone else needs to hear it.
Yeah.
And it's one person at a time.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and thank you for, checking with me through the year. Because that's the thing is that I wasn't embracing the power of community. Mm-hmm. And we have so much community around us with our friends and our family. And sometimes we just don't want to share what's going on. We pack it in ourselves and we don't want to share and be vulnerable and, put a burden on somebody to have to, think about or worry about what we're going through. And that's kind of where Summit came into play because I started to expand my community with just people from all over the world, hence you and others. And I shared the story at Summit yesterday that it was one of those moments where I committed to it. We went to dinner and I wasn't going to share it at the table because I was still second guessing myself. And one of the girls called it out and said, Lori, aren't you going to tell them you're writing a book? And the thing about it was I wasn't going to share it. But once she shared it, it was like there were 4 authors at the table. Everybody came up to me afterwards and were super supportive. Mm-hmm. And if she didn't say anything, I wouldn't have had that support and those friends and Summit squad checking in with me through the year to kind of get me to the point where now I'm done. Like I've completed it. So the power of community is crazy.
Yeah.
Like you really have to embrace it.
Absolutely. So you've made it to the other side. The book is out there.
Yeah.
You had a launch.
Yes.
Which was amazing.
Yes.
I saw the videos. I saw the pictures. You were able to celebrate with other people.
Yeah.
I love seeing that. I'm so excited for that. And so let's get into what, without giving away everything, because obviously we're gonna talk at the end where people can buy the book and how they can support you. But what do you want to share about your story, and what do you want people to know? A little bit of a glimpse into what they'll get.
Yeah, I think that the initial portion of the story is probably not exactly relatable to everybody in life. It was, a kidnapping, and I think that what took me through that day, and once you read the book in chapter 1, was that I felt that there was something there with me to kind of help me through that day. And when I was journaling and when I was starting to write the book, I started to look back at my mental fortitude, my emotional flexibility that I learned from a child to that day. And I continued to build on even afterwards. And I think there's a lot of relatable stories that all of us go through in life. Tragic events, challenging events, marriage, family, death and loss. And those are the things that help build us to have our titanium strength. And it's really important, I think, for everybody to reflect back at their life, to think about all those things that you've got yourself through. And I think that's what made me stronger in the long run, and really kind of flashing back to how that all kind of grew over time and brought me to this point. And I just feel amazing now to have that out and to feel like it's a chapter that's behind me. I think I mentioned in the book that it's just kind of an old dream now. It's not like anything's triggering me anymore because I've put it past me.
Yeah. It's interesting because one of the things that comes up often in events like this, and certainly did from speakers this week, like Gabby and even Matt Hussey, talking about the past, is our association with it.
Yeah.
Like, how do we deal with it? And is it something that we continue to revisit in an unhealthy way, or is it something that shows up and we accept it and we can move on to our future self? Is like this attachment in some way. going through something traumatic, what has it been like for you to go back to that place, process, and get to this point now?
Yeah, I it's been therapeutic to go back and work through it. Like there is, there was a huge file at Maricopa County Jail on my my kidnapping, and it was something that I didn't want to look back on. And during this process of writing the book, I went and picked it up, and it was a huge, thick file. And to read through it, and to kind of relive that moment was challenging, but it's pushed me forward to like put it behind me. And I think that all of us have challenging things that we go through, and it's like the end of the world when it's happening, right? And I think that once we get kind of past it and have time to process it, it's easier to deal with. Hope that explains a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like to go through that file.
Yeah, it was nuts.
What the heck?
There was stuff in there like my husband's statement, my daughter's statement, because she witnessed it. It was just stuff that I, at the moment you didn't even think about it. And even at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, my daughter wrote a statement, and
How
reading
old?
through it, she was 10.
She was 10.
Yeah, and to see her little writing and what she saw, it was just very emotional to think like what she had gone through because she witnessed it. So I think now, that was a moment where when all that happened, the power of community stepped in, right? There were so many people around me that I hadn't spoken to or just cared about me that really wanted to support me in that way. Just to kind of let me know they were there, and family and friends. And I didn't notice it at that point. I just didn't want to I wasn't ready to share anymore at that moment. But there were so many people around me supporting us, and even around my daughter supporting her. And we went through therapy, of course, right after, which I was kind of something that I never wanted to do. Didn't want to be vulnerable in that moment. It was the best thing that I could have done at that initial moment, but I didn't heal right away from that. You know what I mean? It took a lot of time to build. Triggers for me were seeing bandanas in Arizona. Many of the men drive around on their motorcycles, and everybody has bandanas. It's very normal because everybody, that was hard for me to deal with on my drives to work for years, and just little things that would kind of put me. But then I learned to kind of fight through those triggers over the years, and now it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, that's a lot to get through.
Yeah,
that's a pretty severe trauma. So there were two things that you said that I picked up on in terms of your healing journey.
Yeah,
one was journaling, and one was therapy. There's a lot of people and that suffer through their traumas, and I think suffer in silence.
Yeah.
What are other things that you would tell those people in terms of tools and things to do so they can get out of that silence?
Start to share your story. I think what kind of helped me open me up to even thinking about sharing my story or being more vulnerable was listening to podcasts, right? It was listening to different speakers, different things that people have gone through, and kind of then you can kind of relate and fit, and they'd share kind of how they felt better or how they got better with something that they've had to deal with. And so that started to make me think of like, hey, maybe I should start doing this. And one thing was, even talking about it. I never talked about it, and I started to talk about it again, and at times I think me talking about it was helpful. I work in a position where I'm always working with teammates, and I'm the one that's there to support them.
Ironically.
And, yeah.
You're in
and
that
so, there's been situations where, teammates have come and trusted me with their information, and I understood what they were going through because of this situation. So it helped me, not so much share my exact story with them, but it helped me relate to what they were going through. And that's where I started to think like, God, I could really probably help and inspire others to just be open, to be a little bit more vulnerable. And then the main thing, embracing community. And if you don't have the community around you, where to find it and where to build it. Because I think there's a lot of people that are not outgoing or, just reserved and really don't kind of open up, and there's ways around it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so powerful. And it's almost a process of taking back your power.
Yeah.
Like there's this thing, and because it's in you, it has the power. And then when you release it, it's like you being back in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
In a way. So that's amazing. But I think to your point of you sharing your story, it is a process. It's not like, oh, overnight I talked about it, it disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just even writing it and thinking of stories and working with story builders, they helped me think of like ideas, or like, well, what about this? Did you have this happen in life? And it made me go, God, yeah, that's kind of where I built my strength. A lot of it talks about my mom and her strength and my sister, and stuff that I've observed as a child that, I've learned from others that were strong. And it made me excited too, just to kind of share the story about my experiences and those people around me that have been a strong support for me over, from childhood to now I'm 50 years old. And I think it's just, I love to remind everybody to kind of think about, what they've gone through in the past and who's been by their side or who they've learned from, because you really, like, I've been able to thank everybody too. Like, you were a part of this, or you added to my story here. And you don't do that every day, like, until like you have a situation like this and you're looking back and going, oh, wow, that person really, really was super supportive, or that person made me think of something, made me think a different way. And so it was, for me, exciting to kind of share me being thankful to others that have kind of helped me on my journey and built my strength for that day, right?
Yeah.
And afterwards, and here I am. Yeah.
A tremendous amount of gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just curious, out of, because going back, I'm thinking about this file that you looked at. This assailant, this person, what happened to them?
They never found him. There were a couple different similar situations that happened around the same time in Phoenix.
Wow.
And there was carjackings, and there was the very similar situation. My situation was very planned, I guess you can say. I really think that they followed me. There was a whole plan to it. And this was my letting my guard down. Growing up in the Bay Area in San Francisco, I always had my guard up, right? Wherever you grow up in the city and you're aware. And I think I kind of let my guard down, moving to the community that we're in. You felt it was very safe, and I had a routine. Every day I'd work out a certain time. Every Friday I'd go to the bank. Like, you know what I mean? Just normal, like, routines. And I look back at myself, I'm like, darn it. Like, how did I not see the car behind me? How did I not catch that, at 5:30 or whatever in the morning it was? So, they knew what they were doing. And obviously I'm here, so I was able to get away. But it's when you read in the book too, chapter 1, there's the threats, and, they knew where I lived. This all happened, at my house, right in front of my driveway. So
scary.
Yeah. So it was, when I look back and read it through, I'm like, wow, this was really, thought
Surreal.
through.
Gosh.
Yeah. So, I went through the whole photo lineup, and I had to do a sketch, and like, that was pretty like traumatic to kind of be able to have to do that right away. And, you just have this happen. My whole life was just kind of upside down at that point. So yeah, it's crazy that the whole thing happened. But I'm happy I'm here today.
Yeah.
Being able to tell my story and be able to share my story to hopefully inspire others to get through challenging moments that they go through in life.
Yeah. And sadly, that we do live in a world where this kind of thing happens. It's crazy. And, if there's any other message to deliver as well, it is to be safe and pay attention. You know, I think as women, that's one of the things that is always on our minds. And you have a daughter. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's these kinds of things too that you learn.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot, way too much Law and Order SVU and every Dateline episode ever made.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But so now where do you go from here? So you wrote a book, you shared your story, you know, now you're able to inspire people. What does Lori want to do next?
I know. I'm in a point right now where I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Right.
Yeah.
I love my job. I love, you know, what I do. But like, I want to start sharing the story. And I talk about in the book how like I despise standing up and talking in front of people. And
you're a pro. Like this feels
what's
so normal
funny
and natural.
about it is it's like I never like to do it. And I think with work being kind of thrown into it and making it like not forced, but I had to make it happen. If I wanted to improve this or that, I needed to speak. I needed to, you know, speak to the leadership team. And now I'm like on calls every 2 weeks, and there's, you know, 200 or 300 people on calls, and I'm like, you know, I'm in charge of the call, right? I'm the one that's leading the call, and it's something I never thought I'd be able to do. And then even at Summit of Greatness, I had so much doubt that morning, like, oh God, I'm just gonna faint. You know, I think I sent you a thing. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make this happen. But then I saw the video after, and I was like, Lori, what are you doing? Like, you've got this, right? So now I'm like, maybe I could do this, right? Maybe I can start to speak and share with others and help others. So we'll see where that road goes.
Yeah. And you're already doing it.
I know.
Is the thing,
I know.
right? Sometimes we psych ourselves out when you're already in it.
Yeah.
You're here.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing this podcast, you've been telling your story, and I think it's amazing to just reflect on. Do you feel like you have celebrated? Was it the book launch? Like, have you taken the time to actually sit in this accomplishment?
I think I'm sitting in it this weekend.
Okay.
Like, I think it really is. It's like, no, at first, like everything was like, okay, the book launch. Okay. And that was like even not last minute, but I didn't know if I'd have the books in time. And my sister's like, let's do this. So she kind of helped me organize it. And, we made it happen. And it was so fun. Like, it was, because a lot of my story is about, you know, we had a family cabin up the Russian River in California. And a lot of building my emotional flexibility and mental fortitude as a kid of the things that we did with, going up there every summer. So I felt like that would be the perfect place to launch it. And I was so surprised by the number of people that came, and people I hadn't seen in years showed up. So it was really cool. And then, you know, of course, our Summit of Greatness DJ was there. So it was really cool to see everybody come together for that. And that was great. And then I feel like that weekend was just like, okay, making sure everything goes really good. Right. And then I flew home, and we had a late flight. And then the next day, Tuesday, and I mentioned Damon John in my book. And on Tuesday, our company was doing basically a fireside chat with him. I'm like, of all times, right?
What?
It was, yeah. So we had a fireside chat with Damon John on Tuesday, and I was
like, "Hi."
Well, I know. I was like, I wanted to be like, I wrote a book, and you're in my book, but I wasn't, you know. But I did ask a question, and it was really cool that, you know, they asked my question to him and his response, because I've been following him since the '90s, you know, when FUBU, yeah. So
I had FUBU.
Yeah, I couldn't get my hands on FUBU.
Anyone listening, if you don't know what FUBU is, oh Lord. That kind of dates Lori and I.
I know.
We are super proud of our era.
Yes,
we had a lot of good
era.
things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Adidas. Do people wear those?
I don't know about FUBU. I don't know.
FUBU is on. Yeah, I think so. Kango hats.
Yes.
There was a lot. There was a lot.
There was a lot crisscross.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I had the overalls.
Yes.
And I did. I was kind of trying to be like TLC, and I didn't do the whole patch thing,
the
like
one
left
down,
eye,
the one
but
down.
I did do one down.
Yes.
I did do that.
Yes.
So yeah,
See?
Yeah, we know, y'all. If you don't know about like the '90s and everything, it was such a fun time.
Good era. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
such a fun time.
So that was really good. And then I think I got, like, it was funny because I think I was just exhausted from everything. And I got really emotional after that. And it was like my launch day. And yeah. And then after I came home, I told my husband, I was like, oh, I got emotional today. But he was like, listen, you've been, doing something every single day to kind of get to this point, and it's out, and just, so I went home and
You were go.
I reset,
go.
and the next day I was good, and had to reset for Summit. So
yeah, but I totally understand your point where there's a lot of logistics.
yeah,
And now that it's been a minute, you had the launch, and then being here, it's like you finally get to do a little savoring of after you get past freaking out, being on a stage in front of all kinds of people staring at you, then you can bask in the appreciation of accomplishing something that so many people want to do.
Yeah.
I think everybody has a book.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody
has
story.
a book.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a story. So I think the most important question, because now we've got everybody on edge of like the story and everything else, is, so how do they get your book?
Yes.
Lori?
So it's on Amazon.
Okay.
It's on Barnes and Noble, and you can order it directly. It's Titanium. And
what a great name. How'd you come up with the name? Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay. So when I was driving to work, this was not too long after it happened, I started to like just kind of trying to get myself back in a routine. That song came on, Titanium, from David Guetta and Sia. And you shoot me down, I won't, I can't fall, I'm titanium. Perfect. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I'd hear it at like.
It was a sign.
No, it was
about that.
It
today.
was a sign, because I'd hear it and like just when I needed to hear it, and it started to become like our song, our mantra, and a couple years later, and I mentioned in the book, like Gianna, or my daughter, all of us in the family knew the song, and we knew kind of what it meant
Gianna
for
approved.
us. Oh yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, it was Gianna approved. And then we drove to LA a couple years ago, and we both got tattoos of titanium on our wrists. We look down and like remember that we're strong, like this is our strength. And so,
symbolism.
Yes.
The logo on the front. We talked about that too. We were texting about it.
Yeah.
So
the
strong.
Phoenix. Yep.
Yes.
Rising from the ashes. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I want to mention something that was really cool though today. So at Summit, there was quite a few people that came up to me afterwards, and they're like, "You wrote the book. It was, we loved you speaking, and asked me about the book and such." And I was at the coffee shop, and a lady, pulled me aside and said, she's like, "You wrote the book. Thank you. That was so good. That was so good." And I'm like, "Thank you." And she said, "We were at dinner, and we were going around the table talking about, what was somebody or something that inspired us at Summit." And one of her friends said me. And I was like, that made me feel like, okay, this was meant to be. You know what I mean? If I inspired one person, that's all I wanted to do. And now I'm like really excited to be able to have everybody read my book and hopefully inspire others to kind of build their strength and build their community.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I can't even put into words how tremendously proud I am of you. From the moment that you said you were going to do this, I was like, absolutely, hands down, must happen. I'm just so proud. You have taken the leap. I think you give people such an example of what's possible. Obviously, writing a book is huge, but the part about telling your story, about turning your pain into purpose and turning it into power, and that is just so super special. I'm grateful to know you. I'm grateful to have you on this show. I'm grateful for me to be a part of being able to tell your story and to promote it. So everybody knows now.
Yes.
Buy the book, support Lori. You can follow Titanium also on Instagram.
Titanium Straight 2025. I just started. I need some followers.
Yeah.
I'm like just this is all new to me, right? So
people need to be able to DM you, if they have a question or something.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, and thank you for having me, Des.
This is amazing.
This is great.
Congratulations
thank
again.
you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Born Unbreakable. like I said, super special. Happy to be back. You know, we took a little bit of a hiatus, but as I mentioned in my previous episode, we needed that purposeful pause to be able to reset and bring you amazing content. And I'm so excited to be able to start with my dear friend Lori. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.